Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about 5 rookie mistakes that I made as a newbie vinyl collector and how you can avoid them. I have been vinyl collecting since May of 2020. Over the years I have made some mistakes and I was able to learn from them, and now I want to kind of teach you guys how to also avoid those mistakes. This video is geared more towards beginners, but there are some tips in here that maybe even more advanced vinyl collectors might not know about, so I do encourage everybody to watch it. So the first mistake I made was not cleaning my records properly. So what I used to do is I used to take the record out of the sleeve and put it onto the turntable as if I was playing it, and I have an automatic turntable, so when I lift the tone arm, the record starts to spin automatically. I would take a record cleaning brush and just lightly set it on top of the record as it automatically spins, and I would put my record cleaning fluid on the little brush. I can leave the brush sitting there while the record spins, and it kind of cleans itself. When the record is spinning and moving on the turntable, it's generating static electricity, and what that does, it attracts little tiny particles and little tiny fibers and dust particles. It actually attracts that to the record, and so what I noticed is that there would be a lot of small little tiny white particles around when I was cleaning it, and especially when I would flip the record over to clean the other side, all of the dust I had cleaned off on the top side had kind of gotten stuck and like sucked under to the bottom layer. The layer I had just cleaned was getting dirty, so it's kind of this never-ending cycle. So all of the dust that was on top was getting pushed under it. It was actually making more of a mess than it was actually cleaning anything. So instead, now what I do is I clean everything myself, and I don't set the record on the turntable. I set it on a microfiber cloth on a flat surface, so I use my desk. I made a separate video explaining my new updated cleaning process, so go check out that video if you want more details. I'll leave a link in the description and at the end of this video. I clean the record now with microfiber cloths. I can still use my same brushes and cleaning fluid, and I'm also laying the record on top of a cloth on a flat surface, and that way no extra static electricity is generated. Overall, it does keep the record a lot cleaner. You can find really cheap and affordable record cleaning kits on Amazon, for example. I'll leave the stuff that I recommend in the description. I'll leave my Amazon storefront linked. The second mistake I made was not cleaning my stylus. The stylus, aka the needle, is the needle that is actually touching the grooves. That's what's generating the sound, and so it's very, very important to keep that clean. When I first started collecting, I would clean my stylus maybe once a week or just a few times a month, but now I do believe that you should be cleaning your stylus off after every side of a record you play. So if I'm done playing side A, I will clean off my stylus if it's dirty before I go on to side B, because what happens is a lot of dust, dirt, tiny particles can get stuck to the stylus. It's carrying that dirt and that grime and dust around in a circle multiple times as the record is spinning and playing. So all of that gunk is getting carried around and it's getting stuck into the grooves. That can cause the records to get dirty and skip. Before I made that change, I wouldn't even check the stylus after playing. There are stylus cleaning brushes. Again, you can get those on Amazon, for example. The record cleaning kit I have came with a little tiny brush that I can use to clean the stylus, but I would recommend getting a stylus cleaning brush. The third mistake I made was using paper sleeves for way too long. I used paper sleeves for way longer than I probably should have. I would say the majority of records come in paper sleeves. That's basically the industry standard. Paper sleeves are just really harsh. Using paper sleeves can lead to scratches, and a lot of paper sleeves, actually I think most of them, have a hole in the middle. Because there's a hole in the middle of the paper sleeves, it's very easy for tiny little fibers and dirt and dust particles to get stuck on the record. I think the sides of the sleeves you use should be completely sealed and closed off. The hole just makes it easier for your records to get dirty, and I think the paper sleeves are just way too rough, so I would recommend throwing away your paper sleeves as soon as you can. I think I held on to mine for a little too long. I don't think it was long enough to notice any damage, but I definitely noticed my records getting dirtier a lot faster. Eventually I did switch to anti-static sleeves. Anything anti-static is good. It doesn't really matter the shape you get, that's up to you, but anything that is completely sealed, no holes, that is going to be the best for your records. And again, I'll leave my recommendations in the description. The fourth mistake I made was using PVC sleeves, and this is a mistake I just got over about maybe like 6 months ago. I've been using PVC sleeves for way longer than I should have. I noticed a lot of picture discs these days come in PVC sleeves and they are just horrible. I hate the way they feel, I hate the material, and they get stuck to the record so easily. I've even seen cases where if records are kept in, I think it's a hot warehouse, and then there's this disgusting residue on the vinyl and the vinyl is ruined. And it's also really hard to take records in and out of a PVC sleeve. The sleeve just gets stuck to the record so easily, and sometimes you have to like use a lot of force to pull a record out, or it just takes a while to get it out carefully without damaging the vinyl. So I got rid of the PVC sleeves and I made my own kind of vinyl packaging. So if you're using PVC sleeves or you have records in your collection that came in them, I would recommend getting rid of those and changing your sleeve packaging as soon as possible. Now this last mistake I technically didn't make, but I was very close to making it. So the last mistake I almost made was buying a suitcase model turntable for myself. I had a Victrola turntable in my shopping cart and I almost purchased it, but something just told me to wait and keep doing more research. So I decided just to wait a few more weeks, save up my money, and then buy something that's higher quality, and I bought an Audio-Technica turntable. If you can avoid it, I would recommend not starting with a suitcase model turntable. I would recommend Audio-Technica. Yes, it is more expensive, but I promise the higher quality, more expensive turntable is going to be better. Cheap isn't always the best. I mean, if Victrola or Crosley is all you can afford and you still really want to get into the hobby, then I think it's okay. Like, don't let that stop you from getting into the record collecting hobby, but I would recommend just waiting and saving money to start with a better, higher quality turntable. Like, if you have the money, start with a nicer one. If not, it's okay to start with something a little bit cheaper and upgrade later. I just wanted to throw that quick disclaimer out there. Like, I'm not hating on anybody who has a Victrola or a Crosley. I would just recommend that you consider upgrading that turntable in the future if you are serious about record collecting as a hobby. So some of the obvious negative things about the suitcase model turntables is that the stylus that they use are really poor quality. The cheaper quality stylus can lead to damaging your records because of the tracking force. So using those cheaper styluses over time can lead to damaging your records. And I also noticed a lot of the suitcase models, like the platter is even too small for the record, so the record kind of hangs over it. Like, your vinyl records should be on a platter that is the same size as the vinyl, so 12 inches. And also the suitcase model turntables just do not provide any protection for the record. The suitcase models are open, like it's all completely open. What happens if the top accidentally starts to close on top of the vinyl? If it collapses or falls, that's going to be a problem. And because it's open, there's no dust cover. Anything can happen. There's always tiny little particles and fibers floating around in the air, and those are just going to settle on top of the records because there's no dust cover. It's very easy for something to fall on the records, or you might accidentally bump into it or touch it or knock it over because the whole setup is open. Without a dust cover, it offers no protection and accidents can happen. I have an Audio-Technica turntable and it does come with a dust cover, and that thing is a lifesaver. So I don't even trust the suitcase model turntables to even be very protective. Those were my 5 rookie mistakes I made as a newbie beginner vinyl collector. So hopefully you guys take this advice and take these tips and you learn from me and my mistakes so that you guys don't make them. In the comments, let me know if you found this video helpful, especially if you are a beginner. Even if you've been record collecting for years, let me know your thoughts on these tips. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments. If you guys have your own advice or tips or ways to avoid different mistakes, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!